Hello again, everybody. We're face streaming this live, or so it's FaceTime. It's face, and so basically this mic is here for that. But again, what I want to do is welcome everybody here for a ribbon cutting this morning. As you see, it's just a magnificent view here that we have in the city of Kenai, and I'm glad to say that we'll be able to, with the work that it's going into this project, we'll be able to save that view and keep it for generations to come. Thank you. As I was driving over here, and I was just relaying to Senator Murkowski when she got here. I dated my wife in high school, and one of the things we did, like when you went to homecoming or you went to prom, you booked a table at the Harborview restaurant, which was the place to have a nice meal like that. If you did that today, you would be down there by the river. That's gone now. That just tells you how important this project is to the city of Kenai to maintain our infrastructure, our buildings such as the senior center here, and not only that, but what it means for development into the future. We need to have a stable bluff to be able to have the type of investments we need in Old Town Kenai, as well as Millennium Square here. All this area now has a better chance of being developed into something that brings people into Kenai, which is what our job should be: bring people to Kenai to supply the economic engine that we need moving forward. So one of the things, it's just, there's so many things to say. For me, I feel so lucky. There's so much work that went into this moment, the funding level and when we'll be placing rock, that I'm just the lucky guy that happens to be in the seat right now to be able to cut the ribbon. There's so much work that went into this. It's hard to thank everybody. And I see so many people in here that have been involved throughout the process. I've been on council since 2010 and been involved with this for that long. Senator Murkowski, when she first got elected in 2002, she said was the first round of funding that went in to start this process. And, there was a bond passed by the citizens of Kenai back before I was on city council. So all this work that went in starting from the 80s, we kind of talk about how long this has been the number one capital project for the city of Kenai. And there's ranges from 30 years to 40 years. So somewhere in between there is how long this project has been important to the city of Kenai. So like I said, when you consider that amount of time that's taken place and where we are, I just feel so honored and lucky to be the guy in the seat right now that it happens when it gets to fruition. But certainly all the other work that went into this needs to be recognized. And I would like to recognize some of the folks that we have here, current city council members. We have Vice Mayor Henry Nackstead, Victoria Askin, one of our council members, Deborah Sonart, and who am I missing? Any other council members here? Oh, Mr. Daniel here, Phil Daniel, and Alex Dothett. So most of the council here, and not only council that went put in the work, but a lot of the heavy lifting is through our administration, our current administration, and previous administrations that did a lot of the work. Paul Ostrander, and prior mayors as well, but Rick Cook, Paul Ostrander, previous mayors, certainly John Williams. If we have any dead time we need to fill, I'll get John Williams up here and he can spiel on for about another half an hour about what it took to get this project going. So I hope I conveyed to you how appreciative I am to be here and what this means to the city of Kenai. And with that, I got some other guests that I'd like to invite up to say a few words. And I'd like to thank again the funding level. Senator Murkowski, the amount of work that she put in to get to where we are is just incredible. We met with her a couple years ago, and we want to talk about capital funding. And we met over at the airport, and we're sitting in a conference room, and I said, okay, we're going to start out talking about the bluff erosion. Then we're going to segue into the bluff erosion, and then we're going to circle back to the bluff erosion. And she really took that to heart, and wanted to say thank you, Senator, for all the work you've done, and ask you to please say a few words.
looks like you're holding a mouse here, but
And
that's okay.
That's it.
Am I supposed to push anything?
No, I think you just hold it.
Mayor, thank you. And thank you to the people of Kenai for your persistence and your focus on this as a priority. Mayor, you mentioned the council people that are here, but this project goes back over generations, I think it's fair to say, actual generations. The first, I guess the first federal study was back in 1970. Okay, in my head, 1970 is not that long ago, but it's 50 years, folks. 50 years that we first started spending federal dollars. There have been 14 federal studies since 1970 to try to understand what we're dealing with this bluff and the erosion and what it will take to provide for stabilization. And it's not an easy project, you know that, but it is such an important project. And so for every incoming leader in the Corps, they get to come and listen to the Alaska priorities. And it begins with, there's this project on the Kenai called the Bluff Stabilization Project. And like you, Mayor, Colonel Palazzini is kind of new into this. And so he's the lucky guy that gets to be here when the ribbons are cut. But there have been countless colonels in the Army Corps who have had to come in and sit around my conference table. And I'm not saying that they've been lectured, but they have been given very clear warning that this is our priority. And they have shared with us that this is their priority. And I want to acknowledge Randy Boker, who has been part of this project, I would say since time immemorial, but that's exaggerating just a bit. But he's been there from the get-go. And like me, I feel it's a little bit personal. And it's personal because there's very few projects where you have a community say, this is our priority. It's our number one priority. And then you stick with it year after year after year, leader after leader, council after council. And that's a pretty clear indicator that this is important to us. And Tim Navarro and I were just talking about our first sit down with former Mayor John Williams, and John impressing in me, or with me, the priority here. So I look at so many of you and just think about the generational commitment that you have made to this. I was in Anchorage yesterday, and we were at a dedication ceremony renaming the port of Anchorage to the Don Young Port of Anchorage. And we were talking about the significance of the infrastructure bill when it comes to big things. And the Port of Anchorage is a big thing. It's a big project. This is a big project for this community for all of the reasons that the mayor has stated in terms of ensuring not only your commercial properties, your residential properties, your ability to expand, the certainty that is needed. This project helps your community. So when the infrastructure bill was advanced, $37.5 million coming to this project is significant. That's a significant investment in your community. It was also significant that through the WRDA bill, and this was in large part to Senator Sullivan as he sits on the Committee of Jurisdiction, but getting that cost share down so that it was a 90-10 helps you all out. So there was real effort there to make sure that the resources on the federal side are there with you on the community side and the state side. This is the priorities coming together in a way that makes a difference. So I am one who am pleased to say I started my Senate career focused on this project. And so to be here today, I was supposed to be on an airplane this morning going back to Washington, D.C. And I said, you know what? I think I'm going to take a red eye back to D.C. because this project is this important to you and it's important to me. So I'm delighted to be able to be here with you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. Appreciate that. Senator Murkowski had mentioned Colonel Palzini, and he's representing the Corps here, and certainly has been involved with this project and helping us getting it over the finish line. Colonel Palzini.
Appreciate it. Absolutely. Thank you. All right. Good morning, everyone. It's certainly an honor to be up here this morning with the senator and the mayor, and also to be representing the Army Corps of Engineers. Today's ceremony really does mark the culmination of years of hard work from federal, state, local, and private stakeholders to begin constructing the Kenai River Bluffs Erosion Project. And my role here this morning is to tell you a little bit about that project, give you some of the impressive stats that and numbers that are surrounding this. It's a project that showcases what we can achieve together as a team to find engineering solutions to the nation's toughest challenges. So this groundbreaking kicks off the beginning of construction activities to stop the coastline erosion at the toe of the bluff and to protect the city's people and infrastructure. It's a climate resilient project that will secure the community and the ecosystem for many years to come, and is designed to shield the lower portion of the bluff from storm damage and prevent erosion along the newly protected shoreline. When construction is complete, the rock at the toe of the bluff will prevent the tides and the currents in the river from taking the bank material out, and it will allow the upper slope behind us to transform from a steep and barren bluff to a stable and vegetated riverbank. So during the 2024 construction season, this summer coming up, our focus will be on producing the rock that will contribute to the, numbers coming here. So that will contribute to the 42,400 cubic yards of armor rock, 33,200 cubic yards of crushed rock, and 13,100 cubic yards of gravel needed to create that 5,000 foot long protective berm that we're putting in along the bank. That's over 88,000 cubic yards of material, and it'll be delivered by about 30 to 40 very large barges. Currently, the first step in this work is underway at the Sand Point Quarry in western Alaska. In partnership with our contractor, Western Marine Construction, and our designer HDR, we are really excited to get this rock produced so we can begin the actual emplacement along the bluff in 2025. None of this would be possible without the funding made available by the Bipartisan Infrastructure Law in 2022, and we appreciate the support of our state leaders and congressional delegation who ensured this project had the funding it would need to become a reality for the community. And just to mention a few of the other projects that the Alaska District Army Corps of Engineers is doing throughout the summer and the next few years. We're helping communities just like this with projects like the Port of Nome expansion, the Barrow, Alaska Coastal Erosion Project in Utqiagvik, the development of the Unalaska Deep Draft Navigation Channel, and also the Homer Harbor Study. None of this is possible without community and state leaders standing together in support of these vital infrastructure projects. So lastly, we will continue to build upon the collaborative partnership with the City of Kenai over the next 2 years of construction. Just as we worked with the city's staff and consultants through the design phase, we will continue this partnership through the construction to deliver outstanding results. We recognize there's a dual responsibility to deliver vital infrastructure projects and be good stewards of taxpayer money. This project will be a wonderful example of both. I look forward to monitoring the progress during my tenure as the Alaska District Commander and joining you here in 2026 when we cut the ribbon for the finished project. Thank you all very much.
Our next speaker is representing Senator Sullivan's office. And again, when we talk about the federal funding required to complete this project, a group effort, and certainly Senator Sullivan helping out and being united with Senator Murkowski on bringing that funding forward is so important to us. And like I said, without that element, that component, this would not be happening. So we have Elaina Spraker representing Senator Sullivan's office. Do you want to introduce Adam?
Yeah. First off, I just want to let everybody know I'm not short. He's just tall. I am happy to introduce our new statewide director, Adam Tromley from Anchorage. And oh, sorry, this is really not a microphone. I'll try to do a little louder. Introducing Adam Tromley from Anchorage. He's our new statewide director, and very happy to have him on the team. When I picked up Adam from the airport, he said, "Elaina, tee me up about this project," and I said, "I can't talk any louder. Why don't you come up and stand?" Yeah.
That's Janice.
Is that Janet?
That's Janice, yeah.
Janice, can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Okay, because I'm going to make you come stand beside me if you can't hear me. No, it's no mic. Yeah, sorry. When I picked up Adam from the airport, he asked me to have him tee me up about this project, and I said, "Here's what I'll tell you about the city of Kenai. It's one of the best ran cities in the state of Alaska." And I got to thinking about it on the way over here. And you've heard of the Monroe Doctrine, you've heard of the Bush Doctrine. Well, something called the City of Kenai Doctrine that has limited government, fiscal responsibility, amazing people, knows how to navigate through federal agencies, which can be difficult at sometimes, and they know how to get things done. My suggestion is you travel to some cities in the lower 48 and adopt this doctrine, because you people are just amazing, and it's just a joy to work with you. The senator, wishes he could be here today, but he's very, very proud of this project and how everybody's come together. I don't know if everybody knows, but this project came in $20 million under budget. In this day and age, that is unheard of. We've got highway projects that are way, way over budget. I mean, I can't think of a project I know of that's coming under budget. And again, I don't know how you guys did that. It must be in the water. You must be magic. But I had to actually text Terry and say, "Is that true?" And he said, "Yes, it is." So that's something you should be very, very proud of. But congratulations. We're, again, just so proud to be part of this process, and we're looking forward to getting it done.
Thank you, Elaina. Thank you, Elaina. I wasn't going to mention the price, but now that it's out there, we are very happy with where this comes in. We always have this cringe factor when we put things out to bid and wait for that number to come back. This was certainly exception to our rule that's happened lately, and we'll just say that we've got a larger contingency, and we'll see what happens after that. But certainly a good sign for us. I don't think we had anybody from Senator Peltola's office or Representative Peltola's office that was reaching out. So next up we have is Jill Schaefer. Jill here. I thought she was going to be here, but I don't think. But I wanted to take a minute just to say that Jill Schaefer's the governor's representative, but I wanted to give a shout out to the governor and his staff and the work that they did, because as the senator alluded to, previous to the legislative change that happened, that we were on the hook for about a 35% cost share for this project. And what that meant for us was we needed to find a way to come up with a little extra money to cover our cost share. And several years ago, I got a call from Jill Schaefer, and she asked, "What do you guys need? How much? What's the number you guys need that we need to plug into the budget to help get this project moving forward?" And I believe that what they plugged in and was approved through the budget process was $6.6 million of state funding, in addition to several grants we've been able to use prior to that for some of the buying up the property that's needed for the project, which is completed now. So I wanted to say, even though that I personally, and on behalf of the city of Kenai, wanted to thank the governor, his staff, and the legislature for the appropriation we got to help move this project forward. And next up on my list, I got Senator Jesse Bjorkman. Thank you.
Well, thank you everyone for coming out today. It's great to be here with all of you great Alaskans to commemorate the commencement of the beginning of this project that is decades in the making, as many have said. I'm excited for the opportunity that this project brings for our community. Not only do we get to keep the homes of so many great Alaskan seniors from falling into the river, but we also get to create lots of economic opportunity right here in Kenai. This place that is at the heart and a nexus of so many great industries that we have here in South Central Alaska. With tourism and commercial fishing, oil and gas industry right off of our shores, the city of Kenai can only grow as a result of this project in a positive way, with the assets that will become available through development that provide for a gathering place for our communities and our neighbors, our kids, and business opportunities for so many that are going to utilize the stabilized ground to build a firm foundation for their businesses and their place to recreate and live further in our town. I'm really excited about that. I'm really excited that more federal money is coming to Alaska because, as you know, and as I'm sure you've heard, the federal government isn't always so kind to our state when it comes to opportunities and development. And this federal money I kind of view as rent for all of the land that the federal government controls and doesn't let us develop. So I welcome this money coming to our town so that it can help our community grow economically and grow here together. I'm excited about that. I first learned about this project, as many have said, from Mayor John Williams, who talked at length to me about all of the studies that have been done on this project and how this river system and this estuary system behind us works. And if you haven't had a chance to talk to Mayor Williams about that, you really should. You should invest the time. It's worth it. He's right here. So thank you, Mayor. Appreciate that. I wonder if he came on the radio show with Bob Bird and I. We might have a recording laying around somewhere. It was a great show. Also wanted to recognize Council Member Alex Douthit, who's here. I'm not sure if he got mentioned earlier, but good to see you. And thanks everyone for coming out today. We have a great opportunity, and it's going to be excited to see our community grow here as a result of this project. Thank you all.
Appreciate it. At this time, I'd like to introduce our borough mayor, Peter Micciche. And for those of you that don't know, when that state appropriation came down, Mr. Micciche was the state Senate president, and certainly was for us the point person that we went through to help with that. And wanted to say thank you, Senator, and now borough mayor.
Thank you, Mayor. You know, I can tell a lot of stories about this bluff. Some of them I shouldn't. But the first summer I came up, I stayed at Miller's boarding house, and you could play football on the bluff side behind Miller's boarding house. You couldn't do that now. And I don't know how many of you remember Duracoat Painting Service, which was my painting service. My first big commercial job was painting the senior center. And the bluff went a long way out there. So we can talk about how sad it is, how much we've lost, but there's no way we would have gotten the attention we had finally received on this project without the loss. And this isn't just about bluff stabilization. This is about commerce stabilization, planning stabilization, stabilization of the city of Kenai, which means stabilization of the borough. right? We have a lot of things. I'm a Soldotna kid. We have a lot of amazing things, but we don't have this. This is only the city of Kenai, and we're so thrilled to finally get to this point in the project. It's nice that we thank the mayor's office, but or the governor's office. That 6.5 million had been kicked around more than. Well, I don't want to throw any names out there. When we put a deal together, remember, it was about 4 days left in the session. It was a 6.5 million, a $3,300 PFD, and we would pass the Alaska Reads Act. And these guys worked so hard. You and Paul and the other council members worked so hard. They'd call us, "It's still in?" I said, "It will be in. It will be in," because you know how it is, Senator. Sometimes you have to make sure that other important things are going to happen to make sure that your important things are going to happen and important things happen. This is what should be happening with the federal funding. Thank you for reducing our match so that we can get here. And this is so important at this time. The primary reason for me is that we moved Janice out of her house because of AKLNG and moved her in here. For God's sakes, I'm more afraid of her than anyone else out here. So we need to make sure that this bluff stays stable for Janice. Anyway, so excited for the city of Kenai. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Senator.
You bet.
Yeah. Boy, is there any wonder why this guy's the borough mayor? I mean, he just knows right where to, folks' attention. So again, yeah, thank you, Janice, for all you do for us here. Next up, we have our acting program director for the Pacific Ocean Division, Randy Bowker. Is he here? Yes, here he is.
So thank you. Couple things I just want to leave you with. And the acting programs director is just for a period of time. I'm a long-time Alaska resident. I look back to being back in my Wasilla house and recreating on the peninsula, which I do regularly. But I'll tell you, it is personal, Senator, because I've got a lot of friends down here. I can remember conversations we've had going back decades on this project, but it only happens through a partnership. And I believe that's what's most apparent to me in this. It's a partnership of the community at all levels. And then the Alaska District, which are residents in Alaska. We are. Sir, you're here for 4 years, but in 3 years, but in that period of time, good grief, you're down here next week, recreating on the Kenai Peninsula. So the partnership that we have that then goes all the way up through our own headquarters and over onto the hill. I appreciate it. I'll tell you what, we don't hand business cards out so that we don't get phone calls. We hand them out because we're teammates. And I appreciate this team that we have. I look forward to a very good contractor that we have on board. I think you're going to appreciate the efficiency of which they do their work, and they're going to stay on schedule, and this thing's going to get delivered. And I'm confident in that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep.
We're just about there, folks. I did one of the people that were not on the list, but I thought it's very important that we take a minute just to hear from them. It's the work that our administrations have done throughout the year. They do a lot of the heavy lifting for us. And I have our current city manager here, Terry Eubank. I'd just like to have him just say a few words, because for all the folks in here that have talked, this is the guy that you work through for the city of Kenai. And so I just want to have him just say a few words and on behalf of the city.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just got a couple of things, and so much has been said, but I've been with the city now for about 16 years. I grew up in the city of Kenai. I probably caused erosion on this bluff. I know my kids did. I do feel bad about that now. But this really is about partnerships and partnerships at all levels. And, the city of Kenai likes to build them. We like to cultivate them. And we're not afraid to use them. So, Senator, thank you from the bottom of my heart and this community's heart for making this possible with your funding. Senator Sullivan, getting that cost share reduced saved the city of Kenai and your residents right here millions of dollars. Can't say that enough. the governor and the legislature down in Juneau stepping up and helping us fill that gap for our federal match is just critical. And then, you know what? The city of Kenai is not afraid to push the envelope. We designed a project here, I don't think like the Corps has ever done before. We led the design process as the city of Kenai to keep this thing moving forward. We just won't let go. So we're just so excited that it's finally going to take place. It's going to stabilize our bluff, and I think it's going to propel this community into the future. We're going to have reinvestment in Old Town. We're going to bring economic development to the city. And I think everybody should be excited and looking forward because, yes, it's been going on for 40 years, but for me, all my eyes are looking forward now. I can't wait for it to be finished. And the future is bright for the city of Kenai.
With that, we're going to do the ribbon cutting here. So, but after that, what I'd like to do is we'll do the ribbon cutting, and then I'd like to have a group picture, if you guys don't mind, of everybody here, because you're part of that history here. So we'll do a quick ribbon cutting, and then for those that don't mind being in a picture, hopefully none of you are wanted by the FBI and wouldn't mind doing that, then we'll just take a quick couple pictures, and then that'll be our event here today. Thank you all for coming. Certainly appreciate it. And again, I want to close by shouting out to our previous mayor, John Williams, the amount of work that you put into this. I know you're just passionate about it. You were through your whole tenure as mayor and prior to that. And certainly glad to see you as part of this, Mayor. So who do we center for? Falzini?
You got the ribbon. All right. Yeah. I can tell you got the scissors.
I do.
Am I doing the honors with the scissors? Should we get closer to the?
Yeah, let's do it, everyone.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I got to get on this side of the river.
Hey, don't run. Make sure you don't run with those things. They're sharp too. They're sharp too.
Well, we're gonna get it close now.
Okay. All right. Who's going to do the countdown? Because you have to do a countdown.
We got Peter in the picture here.
Yeah.
Want me
to hold the ribbon?
No, you don't just stand here.
Okay, ready?
Yep.
Who's going to do the count? Someone's got to do
All
a
right.
countdown.
5,
4, 3, 2, 1.
Oh, it worked.
They're sharp. I'm telling you, they are sharp. Yeah, you got to make sure those are way out. Make sure they're way out in front of you.